Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Beno Market Weekly. I'm Justin along with Fernando. It's been a wild couple of days in the market. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's dive right in. Hey Fernando, how you doing, man?
Hey Justin, I'm doing great. Thank you for the introduction. So yeah, it's been a crazy week, especially the last couple of days. The market went very wild. We dropped the price of Bitcoin around 10%. I think at one point it was almost like 15%. So it's been a crazy week. And yeah, so as usual, in this podcast, we're gonna start talking a little bit about the price action of the market, and then we're gonna be sharing a few articles on what happened between last week and today.
Yeah,
So
so last 7 days we've seen about a 10% drop in the market with BTC leading. Is that something you expected?
I mean, I was expecting a drop. Let me go ahead and bring my trading view profile. Just a second, it's a little laggy. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, we got the daily chart here. And as you can see here, I had a trend line where I was expecting the trend to hold here. If not, the next level was around this area. And yeah, so as we can see here, the trend did not hold 20K, and we went almost all the way down to 25K. So where do I see us going right now? To be honest, if we take a look at the RSI here, it's at around 18 points. It's the lowest it has been in, let's see, since June of 2022. And as I've said before, the RSI is an amazing indicator to know when it's time to buy. So we can see here the last time that we dropped at this level, we immediately got well, not immediately, but like in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we went up for, I don't know, a large percentage. I would say like 20, 30%. And then on November 2022, again, we touched the 30, 20% level, and it went up. So the RSI has been doing what we've expected it to do. So once it touches oversold levels, overbought, I'm sorry, the RSI starts dropping all the way to oversold. And once we get to this area, then we have another pump. So I'm expecting something very similar to what has happened before, like here, here, or here to happen. I am very positive that the next week is going to be very positive for the market. This was a very healthy retracement, and I like it because on previous retracements, for example, this retracement that we had on June, we touched the 40% mark. So that didn't allow us a lot of space to go up. Now, since we're severely oversold, so once you touch 30 points, you're at oversold. Right now, we're at 20 points. So it's severely oversold. And this means that at any moment, there's gonna, the market's going to move, there's gonna be liquidity, and it is very likely that next week we're gonna have a push to the upside. Unless, the other possible scenario would be that, I am I'm very sure that you're aware, Justin, that BlackRock is about to enter the market, Fidelity and Valkyrie and all those guys, right?
Yep.
Justin? Okay. So
Unfortunately, I do know.
yeah, it's good and bad, and we'll talk about it in a moment. So if we go here on the Bitcoin graph on a weekly, so it's, I mean, it's not even oversold or overbought. It's in between. And what they could be doing is pushing the RSI on the weekly level to oversold. which that would probably put Bitcoin around 20K. But I don't think that's going to be the case, because if we take a look at the RSI on the previous cycle, before we started pushing the price down, we reached an overbought level, and we haven't gotten there yet. I mean, we almost touched it, but we didn't. And then after that, we had a healthy correction. Then we had the crash from the COVID disaster, and then it went up. So I don't know. I mean, I personally think that we still have a way up to go. I think there's going to be one more pump, and after that pump, we're gonna reach overbought level. I'm sorry, and then we're gonna have a massive correction, kind of like the one that we're seeing here. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. And the reason I say this is because I don't think there's going to be a black swan event. But I mean, who knows? Maybe,
This is a crazy world. You don't know what's going to happen in a minute. So
exactly. One day Bitcoin is 69K and the next day it's 20K. And, one day we're all happy at a, Thanksgiving family reunion, and the next day there's a war. So who knows? The only thing I can tell you is that right now the RSI levels are oversold, and this is very bullish. I can almost guarantee that next week is going to be a great week. So we'll see about that. What I do have to remind you and everyone is that everything is manipulated. So it doesn't matter that it's Bitcoin, doesn't matter that it's Ethereum, stable coins, stocks from Apple, whatever. Everything's manipulated. I know that the point of Bitcoin was to, transcend this manipulation and create a monetary system that is not manipulated, but that's not the case. And I'm going to show you a perfect example of why I say this. So this is a Bitcoin tracker for the CME futures trading. So what this means, let me show you this real quick. So the CME group is the largest future trader in the planet, and they're like a firm that trades futures and makes profit out of it.
yeah,
So
they're huge. They're multi-billion-dollar company. Yeah.
Exactly. So they have trillions of dollars worth of liquidity. So they open from Sunday at 6 p.m. till Friday at 5 p.m. And every day there's a 60-minute break, for the market. So if the market at any point moves in a direction to on the way up, while the CME futures is not trading, eventually they're going to push the market down. They have enough liquidity in order to do that. For example, here, this was on a weekend, and on the weekend the price of Bitcoin went up. So what do? They eventually, they let it ride for a while, and they eventually suppress the price. And you're always going to see that. You're always going to see it, because the market, it hurts me to say this, but everything's manipulated. Even Bitcoin mining, they say that there's this argument that they say that Bitcoin's better than Ethereum, because with Ethereum, it's a proof of stake. And with proof of stake, if you have a large amount of Ethereum, you can move the market, the hash rate and all that stuff. And it's true. I mean,
Ethereum gangs.
Yeah, I agree with it. If you have more Ethereum in your wallet, you can have more of an impact and an influence on the Ethereum network. It gives you more voting power and all that. I agree 100%, but it's not any different with Bitcoin. For starters, getting into Bitcoin mining, it's expensive, because you need to get Bitcoin miners, you need to have a good computer, and you need to have a lot of electricity. And in a lot of countries, it's very expensive to mine Bitcoin. The only people that can actually mine Bitcoin and make it profitable are like government agencies or people that have like an agreement with an electricity company in order for them not to have any losses. So that's pretty much centralization. If you have to make an agreement with a electricity company, and you have to have a lot of money in order to buy a miner and all that stuff, that's centralization. It's not that easy to get into Bitcoin mining as maybe it would be with Ethereum, because it's a proof of stake and the only thing you have to do is buy an Ethereum. But at the same time, one whole Ethereum is like, right now it's $1,600. So they're both centralized. I mean, it hurts me to say this. I wish it was different, but everything is centralized. And at any point, I think this is what's happening right now. But at any point, the government can be, you know what? I'm gonna stop arguing with the people. I'm gonna approve Bitcoin. I'm gonna approve Ethereum, and I'm just gonna buy everything. And you have the illusion of a democracy. You have the illusion of a decentralized platform. But at the end of the day, BlackRock and Fidelity and all these guys, they buy everything. And you have the Bitcoin, the mining rigs and the nodes and everything running. But at the end of the day, it's a centralized operation. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about this, Justin? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of these big companies trying to get into this space, and because I just see it's the same manipulation, right? I mean, it's yes, on one hand, if you look at it from their perspective and you look at it from a perspective of somebody who simply wants crypto to proliferate across the globe for trading purposes, meaning making money, then from that perspective, it absolutely makes sense, because having these guys, CME Group, all these others infuse into the crypto space, the volumes get much higher. There's a lot more trading that's happening. And the opportunity to, let's say, become a crypto day trader, things like that, become more and more of reality for somebody who knows how to do it. So from that perspective, it makes logical sense. From the perspective of somebody who's actually looking at blockchain technology as a way to eradicate corruption, as a way to be a replacement for fiat that's not manipulated, as a way to decentralize the world, being someone who thinks all those things, I don't think it's good, because it starts to create monopolies, just like you were talking with Ethereum. And that's the thing that's happened, is this was happening when Ethereum was when there were Ethereum miners. So when Ethereum was POW, for everyone, that's proof of work. That's what Bitcoin is. And I'm not going to get into technical jargon, but very, very simply, proof of work is, it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of crunching of numbers by a computer to create a block. And POS, proof of stake, is a lot faster. We're actually another version of POS called delegated POS, which is a little bit different, a little bit faster than POS. But anyway, when Ethereum was POW, I mean, there were literally like mining mafias, where there were groups of people that were coming together. It was mostly big companies that were buying up mining companies, conglomerating them, and then they would have more and more say in the operation of the Ethereum network, and they would also get more and more of a bigger chunk of the rewards for creating blocks, for mining blocks. And I don't know. I'm just that's the problem here. Is that's one of the reasons why when Meta One was started, we decided that our blockchain, there was going to be no corporations involved, because there's manipulation, man, when it comes to these giant multi-billion international multinational corporations. If a BlackRock can get into the crypto space, that they are going to do everything they can to just monopolize it and make it manipulate it. So that's what I think. What do you think?
I think what you said about Meta One not allowing corporations to purchase the cryptocurrency is a key point. I think I guess, since Bitcoin and cryptocurrency came out of nowhere and, we're still trying to regulate it. And, is it an asset? Is it a stock, a commodity? What is it? We still haven't gotten that information so clear that, we allowed for things like ETFs, futures, corporations to buy it. And I think this, defeats the whole purpose of decentralization. I think that eventually, I don't know if it's too late for this or what's going to happen, but I think part of the problem, part of the reason why, we have mining pools where the power is centralized, where everything's centralized, is because there's no rules prohibiting the corporations from doing this. So I think it's a massive win for Meta One that we have these rules in place. I hope that in the future Bitcoin and Ethereum and all cryptocurrencies do not allow for these to be allowed as a corporation to buy Bitcoin and have massive mining rigs, because you're just centralizing the power and you're defeating the purpose of cryptocurrency. And that's what we're seeing right now. Bitcoin went from being a world new money, a world decentralized, new way of trading, to I feel like it just became a tech stock,
Mm,
and like you were saying,
you're
from the
so
point.
right.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
even moves with the. Maybe not right now, but it's even moving with the S&P 500. When the S&P 500 goes up, it
Yep.
goes up. When it goes
Yep.
down, it goes down. So
Yep.
it's behaving like a tech stock, and I don't like that at all. But like you were saying, from an investor point of view, if you're in it to make money, that's great. I cannot tell a single one of my friends that are not in here to make money. We all like the technology, but we're also trying to make money because we're trying to fight inflation. We're trying to fight the injustice of the government printing money out of thin air and all that. So in that
And
way,
corruption. That's the
yeah,
biggest thing. Yeah.
yeah. So in that way, I agree with the money coming in, but at what price?
Yeah.
Eventually it's all just going to become manipulated. And I was thinking the other day, because I'm going to share an article with you and everyone in a moment. So stable coins. I believe that well, I know that the government is already pushing for CBDCs. I think in China they already have one, and
Yep.
I think they're pushing in Australia. And I know some countries are gonna push back. They're not gonna want it. I know the United States is already fighting to push against CBDCs. But guess what? We still have stable coins, like the stable coin from PayPal, or USDC, which is a stable coin from Circle. If at one point we all fight and we don't allow for CBDCs to be introduced to the market, the government can just print money and purchase Circle and purchase PayPal, and they can be like, okay, there's gonna be no CBDC, but there's gonna be the PayPal stable coin, and it's gonna be owned by BlackRock, or it's gonna be, I'm sure it's already owned by BlackRock, because I think they own like 90% of PayPal. So we're not gonna get the CBDC, but we're gonna get the BlackRock stable coin. So it's gonna be exactly the same thing, because they can freeze your assets, they can freeze your wallets, they can burn your coins, they can do whatever they want. So I don't know. I'm finding out a lot of the things that are happening right now in the market, and I see BlackRock about to enter the market, and it just makes me sad how Bitcoin went from being a new world money into now something being manipulated by BlackRock and the government. Because, like I said, at any point the government can say, "Hey, I'm going to print $1 trillion worth of money out of thin air," and with that money, I'm gonna buy Bitcoin, I'm gonna buy real estate, I'm gonna buy all that, and it's not backed by anything. So it just makes me sad, and this is why I believe a lot in Meta One, because like you said, we don't allow corporations to buy Meta One, and Meta One is backed by gold. So there's really, there's well, at the end of the day, if the government wanted to print a lot of money and buy Meta One, I mean, technically it's possible unless we make a law that it's impossible to buy
True.
Meta One, if you're the government or the corporation. I don't know how we're gonna figure that out, but it's it is what it is, and it just makes me happy to hold Meta One to be a part of the project. And I hope that in the near future, there's gonna be laws that protects us users and civilians from large corporations from buying all these assets.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things with Bitcoin is like, I think that's one of, I always going back and forth in my head around this decentralized world, right? And we are obviously a huge fan of decentralization, but at the same time, I think that there can be a point where too much decentralization is not good,
Yeah,
because I think that as amazing, of course, as I bow my head to the OG of blockchain, Bitcoin, I think that is one of its flaws, is that it is the most decentralized project on the planet, and there's no person, there's no group, there's no anybody who is speaking for Bitcoin or even speaking for the developers of Bitcoin. It's just
yeah,
been all, obviously shrouded in secrecy. No one really actually knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. There's lots of people who claim that they are him, but it's never, or it. I mean, it could be a woman too.
yeah.
But they've never. No one has ever really. No one ever really is able to do that. So that's the thing here, is like, I feel like there needs to be a balance between centralization and decentralization. It's like, that's one of the reasons why Meta One is the way that it is, where we have support services like central that are centralized, but then our blockchain is decentralized, but then we have a membership that also decides, and makes decisions around, okay, we're not going to allow corporations, we're not going to allow this, et cetera, et cetera. And there's that balance there where there's still a group of people that can speak for the core values of the project to keep it on track. Um, but at the same time, the technology and the mechanisms that are enforcing the way that the network is working are decentralized. And so to me, I feel like there needs to be a balance. Do I think that it needs to be like a 50-50? No, I think that there needs to be more decentralization than centralization. But I don't think you can just decentralize it altogether and just be like, oh, here's this nameless thing that we've created, and now we're just going to just sit back and not really do anything about this. Because then we get into the situation like you're talking about, where Bitcoin is introduces this incredible new powerful weapon for the people, and now it's being corrupted and taken over by the swamp. And it's just like we have to have a balance. So at least that's what I think.
No, I agree with you, and I always say that the answer to everything in life is balance.
Yeah,
To
100%.
every question that you ask yourself, balance,
Yeah.
balance, balance. And I agree. I usually, there was this portal online. I think it was Bitcoin Talk. I used to be like an
Yeah,
OG.
it's still around. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be like an OG Bitcoin Talk guy, and I used to talk
Nice.
about it all the time. And I always said that I believe that the answer to the best network was to be decentralized and centralized.
Yeah.
And like you said, maybe not 50-50, but there's gotta be rules, because without rules, there's anarchy, and if there's anarchy, we allow ourselves to exploit bugs, corruption,
Yep.
steal money, we can do a lot of stuff that it's not intended the way that it was intended to be.
Yep.
And it's human behavior that we see an opportunity and we exploit it, and we only care about ourselves.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I agree that definitely the best blockchain is going to be the blockchain that finds a balance between centralization and decentralization. Is it going to be Bitcoin? I don't know, but I agree with you 100% that there's need to be improvements. And I was gonna say something,
And
but
Bitcoin did the thing. I mean, Bitcoin created the idea. So I feel like it's like that homage needs to be paid. But now we see the flaws of Bitcoin,
yeah,
and we have to make a change to make it better. And is there a place for Bitcoin in the world? I think there is.
yeah,
But I think the biggest and greatest thing that Bitcoin did was create blockchain technology.
I agree. I
You know,
agree.
it's
Bitcoin,
kind of like comparing an old man who's retired and who has already had his heyday to
yeah,
someone who is 35 years old and is building an incredible legacy and a company and and a project or something of that nature like that. It's like
yeah,
the old man, he's already done his thing. He's already done all that, and it's wonderful. And now it's just time to kind of sit back and relax. And the new kid on the block, he's the one who's got a little bit of experience, a lot of fire in his belly. He's got new ideas that the old man didn't have that he's improving on. And it can just be a better version. And that's the thing, is I think that just like every technology, it just gets better and better and better and better. And are we going to find the answer tomorrow? I mean, I'm biased. I think that Meta 1 is the closest thing to the answer right now, but I think that we all as a global community just continue to use the tech, understand the tech, and then layer on top of these ideas on top of it, so that we get to a place where we really can have that perfect thing. And even us here, we're always continuing to reinvent and question and go, what can we do better? What could be better about this? What could be, more, whatever, human?
yeah,
We want to harness this technology for it to be human, for people to be able to use it, and for people to be able to use it in a fair system. Like you said, there needs to be rules. You can't have this situation where it's just completely decentralized with no rules and no nothing, because what's going to happen is all of the criminals are going to come, and it's just going to turn into a freaking like negative
anarchy.
energy fest. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
man.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And take a look around on all the cryptocurrencies and blockchains there is. No one has customer service. We're one of the
Yeah.
only cryptocurrency projects in the planet that you can call, and there's gonna be someone that's gonna help you open a wallet. Someone's gonna help you make a deposit, a withdraw, or even sometimes I'm helping someone with anything, and they start talking to me about their personal life, and I'll talk with them about it. There is no other blockchain you can do that. And so
Yeah,
I
man, it's like human. It's like, that's the thing, right? Is that, like I think that's the difference between like all of these people who just think AI is so cool and robots, and man, Elon Musk and his monkey brain stuff is so cool, and we need to be, AI robot human hybrids and all this crazy nonsense, to the rest of us, which is like 99.999% of the world, who are just like, we're humans and we should be treated like humans. And so
yeah,
why should our currency be any different? I mean, if you think about it, we're even better than we're way better than the US dollar, because there's no place to call for support with the US dollar. It's like it's this horrible old, legacy currency that we have to reinvent this idea of how we interact, and imagine exactly that, not only being able to get an amazing level of support, in my opinion, but then having another human on the other side who actually wants to talk to you too, maybe just not about your issue, but hey, how's it going? Are you having a good day? I mean, we're all human
yeah,
beings. So yeah, man, it's crazy. I just think that in the space, especially with that, it's like we were so excited at the beginning to have all this decentralization and blockchain that we kind of forgot about the human side of it. And then it got to a
Yeah.
point where there were so many rug pulls, so many scams, so many problems that it's like, okay, we need to get back to this. We can have a balance, like you said before, a balance of this amazing decentralized technology along with human beings who are centralized and actually want to help you. So
I agree,
yeah,
and I'm just happy that we're doing things this way. And I
yeah,
hope I hope that the government listens to you about passing along the torch, because we have the most of the Senate is just a bunch of 80, 90-year-old guys that can't even walk by themselves anymore, that they're having speech impediments. They're all, they have nothing. They should be worrying about their final days and their health. And
yeah.
they're just up there trying to make up rules when they have no business being there. And yeah, I mean, I think I hope that that changes as well very soon, where there's laws that don't allow people over 60 years old to be in government, not
Yeah.
just the president, but any position in government, because they're just holding on to the power. Most of the people in power right now, they're just people that are good for nothing. They're just giving orders, and they don't know how to farm, they don't know how to code, they don't know anything about supply chain management. They're just giving orders, and they don't know how to do anything. They're just holding on to the power, and that's what we need to get rid of. We need to get rid of these people that are just holding the hose, and they're like, oh, you get this and you get that, and they don't really do anything. So I don't know. It's just my 2 cents. I hope that in the near future we have laws that protect us from older people that just want to hold onto power. And also, one thing that I wanted to mention, a lot of these old people that are holding to power, they're very close to dying, right? So they might go crazy, and they just, I don't know, they want to go out with a big bang. They don't care anymore because they're gonna die. So they'll start a war, they'll start a nuclear war, or they'll attack Russia or whatever. They don't care. They're gonna die, and they'll be like, oh well, since I'm already gonna die, I'm gonna start a war. And we had to pay the broken glasses and all that, just because we don't have laws that protect us against older people. I mean, we get
Well,
it.
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on here because I really think that it's not even about them wanting to die. I really think it's all these old people who are in this group of elites that are really controlling the world. I think it's more like, I'm taking my daily dose of adrenochrome, and I've got my nuclear bunker that I can survive a
Yeah,
nuclear winter for my family for 5 years underground. And I just want to get rid of half the people on the planet. So let's start a nuclear war. I mean, that's
yeah,
really what's happening. And so that's why, like that's why with everything we have to we have to come together, we have to unite, we have to stop arguing about this stuff that doesn't matter. We have to realize that it's us versus them, and we have to stand up together because it all comes down to the fact that there's way more than us than there is them. And we can build a world, a free world, and reorganize the way that government is, and have a world where like people care about people and governments actually do good for the people like they're supposed to.
yeah,
I believe that it can happen. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts, man. We live in like, I feel like it's like a bad 80s movie, like it's a
yeah.
bad 80s horror thriller movie.
I know, man. It's just crazy, but hopefully, people like you and me, and Meta One holders, and the younger generations that are tired of all this this scenario that's going on right now. Hopefully, like we always say, we'll become the best versions of ourselves, and
Yep.
we will do something to impact the market or the economy or whatever, just like we're doing right now by creating a new monetary system that is backed by gold.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll just keep doing what we're doing, hold the energy that we have right now, and maybe one day, I'm very hopeful that we're gonna change things, and this bad 80s movie is gonna come to an end. But
Yeah,
we'll see
man.
how it goes.
we're already changing things, and the more people that join us, the bigger our message becomes, the bigger our impact becomes, and we can do this together. I truly believe that. And yeah, I think that sometimes all of us wanted to have been done yesterday, but that's not how you build something that's going to last a long time. And we're slowly doing it, person by person, human by human. And we're doing it together. So that's exactly it. We have to continue to keep push forward, have an optimistic view, and know that we can change the world because it's possible for sure.
Absolutely. We're
Yeah,
already
man.
doing it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share this article with you and everyone real quick. So I don't know if you heard, but Evergrande just filed for Chapter 15 in New York. This
Mm,
happened yesterday. And I mean, I don't know exactly how Evergrande has a direct impact on the market, but last year, there were rumors about Evergrande going bankrupt and all that,
yep.
and the market crashed. Oh, give me a moment. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Someone was calling me on the phone. Let me put it real quick on silence. And there we go. So yeah, so last year, Evergrande was about to collapse, and it had a direct impact in the market, not just on Bitcoin, but also the stock market.
Uh-huh.
And yesterday, apparently, it went bankrupt, and it had again an impact on the market. I don't know exactly why it has a direct impact on the market. I guess because Evergrande, I believe, is worth like, I don't know, billions of dollars, and maybe they have to pay back the assets, and they sell, and the market. I don't really know what happens, but do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember that whole scandal with them last year. I think that I'm not surprised by this. I'm surprised that didn't happen earlier.
Yeah,
Um, I just I think there's a lot more going on economically in China than the Chinese government Communist Party is telling us. Um, and it's like the only data that we really get from China economically is what the CCP puts out, which
yeah,
I mean, we're talking about the CCP here, so that's not really credible data. But I mean, even with that, we can already see that they're having more issues. In the housing market, they're having the highest youth unemployment rate that they've ever seen. Growth is pretty much stagnant, which I don't think China has seen in decades upon decades. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's interesting, and it's interesting to talk about China because there's people don't realize how impacted, especially people in North America, are by what China does and
yeah,
how the Chinese economy works, and is doing because I mean, gosh, probably 90% of what we consume is made there.
yeah,
So it's not a good thing for the world, especially that size economy. I mean, they're the second largest economy in the world behind the United States. So it's interesting, man. I think, unfortunately, I think we're going to see more of these in the future, but I'm not sure it's such a bad thing. You know, I think that these cycles have to happen. I mean, we are propping up a house of cards with glue and gum, and I'm very surprised that the gum has held for so long
yeah,
because we're really at a point where I feel like the last straw that breaks the camel's back is coming. And again, I don't really think that that's a bad thing. I think that if you're smart and you know what you're doing, you can protect your money, you can make lots of money in a recession.
yeah.
And yeah, but I think it's going to be interesting. But anyway, long-winded. I think that we're going to see more of these for sure, and I'm not surprised by this. What about you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're gonna see more about this, and we can see here the exact number. So it's $310 billion in debt to bondholders, banks, buildings, contractors, and other creditors. So I mean, it's a lot of money.
Wow.
It's a lot of money, and I guess that's why I would say it impacts the market because they have to sell. And, the moment you sell, it's liquidity that's leaving the market. And, that liquidity has to go somewhere else. So
Yep.
it's not in the market any. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna try to do more research about the subject. All
Yeah.
I know that I'm sure you remember last year when we were hearing about this, the market crashed, and yesterday we got this news and the market crashed. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Hopefully, it's gonna be the end of this corporation, and yeah, we won't have to ever hear again from these guys because it's just driving
Well,
me insane how they're just influencing the market.
if
But
they're anything like FTX, you might hear about them again.
yeah. So we
I
probably
mean, that's the crazy thing. I mean, that's when you know that this entire scam of a financial system is just an absolute ridiculous game, is when a company, this happens every day, a company files for bankruptcy. Typically in bankruptcy, they just don't have to pay the creditors back, or all of their assets are liquidated, and then whatever's left is given to the creditors, which typically is not a lot. And then the same people who created that company can go and open up a whole new brand new LLC with a different name, even if it's by one character, and start operating again. It's
yeah.
nuts. It's nuts.
No, and it's pretty much like a the hot potato game. So what they do, they open a credit card, they call it, I don't know, bonds. And they open another credit card and they call it, I don't know, quantitative easing. And they open another credit card and they call it, I don't know, treasuries. And they're just paying one credit card with the other credit card and the other credit card. And they're just, there's no money. It's just they're just paying the debt with another debt with another debt, and eventually, the house of cards falls, and whoever was holding the potato gets all the heat, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I mean, there everyone involved is a criminal
yeah,
because
yeah,
what you're doing is you're stealing from the people, you're stealing from the world, you're crashing the economy. But whoever gets the potato last, they blame it all on that person.
yeah,
So once they get that person in jail, they just do it again and they just do it again, and they've been doing that for 100 years.
yeah,
We had another crash in 2008, we had another crash in the year 2000, and they just keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that, and there's no consequences. They just keep bailing out their friends and all that. And what happens to us? We are left with inflation.
yeah, yeah,
We're left with families of, a normal family of, wife, husband, and two kids that cannot even afford school anymore, cannot afford insulin, cannot afford anything because of these guys generating inflation. So it is very messed up. And,
yeah,
I hope that the people hearing to this podcast awaken and realize that we need to get these people out of control. I'm sorry,
yeah,
out of that control, better said. So, or if we're not gonna get them out, at least let them know that they gotta change rules, because eventually, the people are gonna raise in arms when at the time that you cannot even pay for food anymore. And I believe we're already there. I've been seeing a lot of videos on Twitter of people crying, saying like, "Hey, you know what? I have a master's degree. I have two jobs. What's the purpose of this? I can barely pay for rent, I can barely pay for food." And I see a lot of people like this, and in addition to that, they still have student loans to pay. So at one point, all these people are gonna have nothing to lose. They're gonna go buy a gun and they're just gonna start shooting people. And that's gonna happen. If we don't fix this, doesn't matter that you're the president, doesn't matter that you're a senator, the CEO of a major company. Your children are gonna be in the mall one day, and there's gonna be a massive shooting. There's gonna be riots. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. Doesn't matter that you're the president. Doesn't matter that you're the CEO. This situation is getting out of hand, and it's gonna splash everywhere. So we need to fix it, or it's gonna get bad. I don't know if you have any thoughts about this.
yeah, man. I mean, I think we've been there. I think we've been there for a while. I was actually reading a story yesterday about how there are this amazing story actually about this 14-year-old kid who actually started a GoFundMe to raise enough money to pay for lunch debt in a school district. But what blew
I
my
saw it.
mind is that's even a thing.
Yeah,
Apparently there are families out there that don't have the resources and can't afford school lunches, like lunches in the school cafeteria, which typically is not very good quality. So they're usually pretty cheap, and there are families who have debts to the school because they can't pay for their kids lunch. um so yeah, man, I mean, I think that obviously we're in a dire situation, but I also believe in the human's ability to be resilient, and I also believe in the human's ability to really remember what's inside of them and to rise up and to come together and to unite. And I see it happening. I think it's happening a lot slower than I wish it would, but I think it is. And I really hope that anybody who is in that situation, who is listening to us, can go and talk to somebody. Get some help. It doesn't have to be a therapist or something. Sometimes the best therapist is your spouse or your best friend or whatever. But that's what I would say. And I would say that, yeah, we need to change it. I just am of the personal opinion that I think we're beyond a government creating laws that's going to change something. Them in Washington D.C. or in any capital, in Mexico City, in Rome, anywhere. I don't think that government is going to change this, and I don't think this is going to come from a place where legislatively it's going to change. I think the only people who are going to change it is us. And I think that honestly, on a deeper spiritual level, I really believe that this is God's way of kind of saying to humanity, like, okay, I gave you free will. You have the power to stand up for yourself and to change this and to eradicate this just insidious, disgusting, nasty. I mean, it's there. You can't say it other than devil. I mean, it's literally
yeah.
devil on this planet, and I really think we're at a point. I was watching an interview with I don't know if you've seen this guy. He's a Republican candidate for president. His first name is like Vishima or something like that. Forgive me. I'm probably like really botching his name,
Yeah,
but I was watching an interview with him with Tucker Carlson, and he said something that I resonated with so much, which was um, that we are kind of in like a spring of 1776, of 1775, early 1776 moment, and I really truly believe that that's the truth. And I think that I see it everywhere. I see it. I mean, I don't know if you've seen a new song by a guy named Oliver. It's called Rich Man North of Richmond. It's like the people's anthem. It's such an amazing song, and it's so cool to see actual music like that be used for the platform that it's supposed to be used for, because in my opinion, music has also been corrupted and taken over too. um
yeah.
and it's cool. Vivek is his name.
I,
But
I I've I've
yeah,
heard of him. I think I
anyways.
did see the new podcast from Tucker Carlson. From I didn't watch it, but I see that it came out because I follow him on Twitter,
Yeah.
and I agree with you. I mean, I also what you said about music. So I was reading the other day an article that says that noise is a command for our brain. When you hear, someone to tell you, hey, pick up your clothes, noise travels as a command and your
Yeah.
brain picks it up, and your brain, pretty much sound is command to the brain. So ever since, like, I don't know, like late 1990s, the music became so different. The music back in the 80s, in the 90s, it was about love and creating a better future and all that. And on the late 90s, early 2000s, it started becoming like more tainted, about sex, drugs, money. And ever since music became so corrupted, I feel like it had a huge impact on society. We went from I mean, I wasn't alive in the 80s, but I can play a song from the 80s, and I can ask my mom, how were the 80s? And her answer was, it was nothing like this. It was a better time. Everyone was friendly. You can get along with your neighbor. It was such a different world. My mom would tell me, and I don't know. I mean, it's just I'm sharing my thought on what you were saying about music. That I feel that music had a huge impact on society these days. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I totally do. I mean, for me, I'm not really sure that it's about always speaking a positive message, but what I would definitely agree with you on is on the way that music changed. I think after early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I'm a big old school hip hop fan, so I just think that using the platform to really talk about what's going on in your life, even or in the world, even if it's not good, is really what it's for. It's art. It's supposed to inspire, right? It's like
Yeah,
one of my favorite artists is Tupac, and yeah, Tupac wasn't really rainbows and sunshine, but Tupac talked about what was going on. He talked about issues, and I think that that's what we've gotten away from, is the music now is just like you said. It's just about three things really:
garbage. It's
drugs,
garbage.
sex, and depending
Money.
upon the genre, womanizing. I mean, that's typically the three things that we're talking about, right? And here and there we get an artist that's amazing, and maybe there's a song or two that we connect with, but I mean, my wife and I talk about this all the time because that's actually one of the ways that we connected was music. And we're big fans of all of that old school amazing hip hop, that's actually real music.
Yeah.
And now I can't even listen to the radio. I can't listen to
No.
anything anymore. To be honest, this is gonna kind of sound crazy, but I've been like really digging country music lately because it
Yeah.
like it has a message. Like they're talking about something real. It's amazing storytelling, and
Simpler times.
yeah, it's like, and man, like growing up, I never listened to country music, and now
Yeah.
like my Spotify is just full of country music because I feel like it's the only thing I can listen to.
I
Of course,
feel
and my
you.
old school hip hop, but
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. But it's just so cool. It's so cool. I'll click a link in the description for anybody who hasn't heard Oliver's song. It's called Richmond, North of Richmond. It's amazing. And it's just like a people's anthem. And I think it's cool to see that kind of stuff happening because we are seeing an uprising. I really believe we are. I don't think we're seeing it fast enough, but I think we're seeing it. I mean, I've seen an incredible reaction from this song, for example. It's number one on iTunes, which is incredible. I mean, this guy is like a coal miner from West Virginia, and he has a
Is it
number
country
one song
music?
on iTunes. Sorry?
Is it country music?
It's yeah, it's like folk. Um
Like
and so
like
kind of
Johnny
kind of
Cash?
country. And and also, like, I've been really seeing an incredible, I mean, and I think you can, the response from that song has been amazing. I've just read so many comments on social media and all over the place about people who are resonating with it. And then, also, I think one of the other signs too is, Sound of Freedom, the movie about Tim Ballard and child sex trafficking, has now made $175 million in the United States. And it's made more money than the new Indiana Jones movie. And it is about to premiere on August 18th, today, in South Africa. And then I believe in on August 25th, it's going to be in Mexico, and a few other Latin American countries, and then it's going to be premiering in Europe in September. And again, I've seen some incredible reactions from that and people really being moved by it. I personally think that everybody on the planet should see it. It's really important. It's very hard to watch, but it's incredibly important for all us to see, because we all have to take action about that. I mean, that is the deepest, darkest, most disgusting, real, true, just absolute insane thing going on that is being perpetrated by these people. And again, I just, like you said, people are at a point where they can't pay their bills, they can't put food in their mouth, they can't feed their kids, they can't send them to school, they can't buy their lunch, all these different things. And that, I think people are hearing it, they're hearing it. And even the ones maybe that are not in that bad of a position, it's just the kind of thing where, like, you're just barely making it. um and but I don't know, I just feel this, I feel this human spirit stirring inside of all of us. And I think that we're going to see an amazing next few years that are really going to transform the world. So anyways, that's what I think.
Hope that's the case. I really do, because times right now do be very wild.
They are very wild, man. But I kind of believe, I'm not a Christian, but I think that there's definitely some truth to the Bible for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
There's never been a book that's been around for this long. And I think that the teachings of Jesus are pretty amazing. And
Absolutely.
hey, I think we're living in end times, man. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's this literal interpretation that some people like to interpret, that it's like, oh, the world's going to end and we're all going to die and oh my god.
Yeah, let's
you
go
know i
crazy.
I think it's just, I think it's transition. I think, because when in the circle of life, the cycle of life, when one thing ends, something else begins.
Yeah.
And I think that as a humanity, we're at crossroads, and we've got two directions. We can either go down the road of darkness, or we can go down the road of light, and we all have that choice to make. And I've made my choice, and I know you have too, and everyone on listening to this probably has as well. So hopefully more and more of us are going to join and change this world together for the better.
I agree with you, and what you were saying about Jesus. Like, I'm not a Christian either, but I agree with the teachings of Jesus.
Yeah,
Actually, I've studied a little bit about the life of Jesus,
yeah,
and he actually preached something called Kabbalah. So a lot of people don't. People think that Jesus was a Christian or a Catholic and all that. No, Jesus, the Catholic Church and the Christian Church didn't even exist until after Jesus was murdered.
sure,
Jesus was a Jew, and the Jews, their highest level of understanding is called Kabbalah, which is, I would say, is the same as Buddhism, but from a different place, right?
yeah,
So he taught love. He taught about meditation, energy, how to become the best version of yourself. And I agree with it. I feel like every religion or philosophy has a small piece or a large piece that you can apply to your life to become a better version of yourself. And yeah, like you were saying, maybe it's not the end of times, but it's the end of one cycle and into a new cycle, right?
exactly. And I think that we have the choice to decide what cycle that's going to be next. So
Exactly.
yeah,
I
man.
actually there's in Hinduism is actually the oldest philosophy in the world. And I was reading the other day that something they say that this life is actually a dream. And that it is more important, that the dream world is actually more important than this world. Because once you start mastering the dream world, through meditation and lucid dreaming and all that, you have a direct impact on this world. So I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to throw that information out, that
Interesting.
maybe, yeah, maybe this life is a transition from one dream to another one. And we gotta be more in control of our energy, of the subconscious mind, all that good stuff. I don't know. I'm just excited to see what's gonna happen. And as always, as we always say, maybe if we become the best version of ourselves, we're gonna have a direct impact on reality, and everything's gonna end up better.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah, so
man.
that's just my 2 cents. But anyways, moving back to crypto, NFTs, and all that.
A little bit of
Uh,
a tangent, guys, just a little bit.
yeah, we went hard on everything that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to share this article that Donald Trump shared a statement where it shows that he holds about $2.8 million worth of Ethereum.
Mm,
I don't know if he personally bought Ethereum or if it's related to uh, Donald Trump. I think it was last year. He sold a collection of NFTs. Did you hear about this?
I did. Yes.
Okay. So apparently he sold about $4.6 million worth of NFTs. I think it was on the Matic network, which used to be called Polygon. And here's a few examples of the NFTs that he was selling. I mean, they're a little bit tacky in my opinion, but whatever. I feel like it's great to know that a president, an ex-president, and maybe future president again of the United States, that he's interacting with blockchain, Ethereum, and all that good stuff. So we know for sure now that Donald Trump is involved with blockchain, because I remember when he was president, he was saying that he did not support Bitcoin and all that. But now that he's in quicksand, and he's going through a lot of controversy, and he's realizing the power of having a decentralized network that the government cannot shut down your account, they cannot freeze your funds, because who knows, maybe after all this controversy, they're gonna freeze all his funds and send him to jail. I hear he was just indicted again for the 5th time like 2 days ago.
I don't think it is. I think it's going to actually make him stronger. I think he's
Yeah,
so I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the podcast host said, I think Trump is like Thanos at this point. I think
yeah.
the more you throw at him,
Wow,
the
that's so
more you
true.
throw at him, the stronger he gets. And I
Yeah,
really think that's the case, because here's the thing, right? The humanity is sick and tired of corruption. They're sick and tired of lies. They're sick and tired of having this small group of people suck all the life and the money out of them, and they see Trump as not that. And
yeah,
so it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter if they charge him 25 times for whatever. I just think he's it's just gonna get more popular. And to be
yeah.
honest, the polls are showing that too. So I
I
don't know,
agree.
but yeah, man, yeah. It's that was a funny one, like
I,
Thanos.
I I agree, man. And I don't think that at this point it even matters if they throw him to jail. People are still going to vote for Donald Trump.
Yep.
And I personally can't believe that I'm saying this, because when Trump was president, I hated him so much. I feel like he didn't know how to communicate himself too properly, and I felt
Mm.
like he was kind of misogynist, and maybe not racist, but sometimes the way he spoke about things made him sound racist. But at this point, I'm all in for Trump. I feel like Trump is a rock being thrown at the beehive. I feel like Donald Trump is the enemy of the deep state,
Yeah.
and if it's not Trump, it's not gonna be anyone else.
Yeah.
I know he's not the hero we want, but I guess he's the hero we deserve. So it's that the world is super messed up right now, and this is the way the hero for this world looks like. So I don't know. I'm just all in for Trump, and I wanted to share this news with you and everyone as well. So I'm sure you're familiar that there was recently a fire in, I think it was Maui. I don't did,
Yes.
did you hear about it?
Yeah. Biggest fire in U.S. history. Yep.
Yeah, so apparently
Most
the
deadly. Sorry.
fire only happened in the areas where there were no millionaires. So The fire, it is very interesting because there's now a conspiracy theory, and I agree with it. So when the fire started, apparently there's protocols on the island to sound the alarm to warn everyone. They didn't sound the alarm, so a lot of children actually there were reports of high winds, so they canceled school for all the children. They sent them back home, and then they started the fire. And the fire, if they were at school, it wouldn't have been such a big problem. But since they sent the children back to their homes, it killed. I don't have the exact number, but it killed over 100 children. So what's very interesting is that the fire only happened in the lower budget areas of Maui. Not a single, real estate property from Bill Gates or Oprah or anyone that owned real estate there got burnt. And apparently now the government is looking to purchase the land that was destroyed by the Maui wildfires. So it just looks too strange that right after, the fires happened, the government is now looking to purchase the real estate with zero compassion. Zero, they're not waiting even a week to to help the people and see what's gonna happen. They're just directly, hey, we're interested in buying your land, but we're gonna buy it for a fraction of its real value. I don't know. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, man. I've heard a lot of different things about this fire. Obviously I don't know exactly what's true and what's not true, but I think that all of these are very good theories and could be very possible. I just think it's super sad. My heart goes out to all those people who
Yeah.
have lost so much of everything. I know what it's to be like to be in a place where you've lost it all. And it's yeah, I just pray for those people. I really hope that there can be some reconciliation for what they've lost. And yeah, I mean, I really truly hope that they get down to the bottom of it. What I know is that the Hawaiian people have always had a big spark for rebellion and for standing up for themselves. So I would not be surprised if we see a lot more of this and some truth comes out. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, man. I've heard lots of things too. I've heard it could have been direct energy weapons, which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I've heard that also there was a lot of there's a lot of indigenous Hawaiians that were living in that area that were refusing to sell land. So it's very possible, along those lines, like you're saying, that could be part of it too. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, that's there's so many fishy things that go on with this story, man. It's nuts. It's
It
nuts.
wouldn't surprise me. I actually was thinking about that story. I don't remember 100% how it was. You told me the other day on one of our podcasts the story that when Obama was president, that the Native Americans, that they wanted to steal the land from them, and then that they broke a pipe. I don't know. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Or
Yeah, Standing Rock. Yes. So yeah, 2016. Yes, it was. They wanted to take land to build a pipeline. And they ended up succeeding, unfortunately. But there was a really big resistance from many native tribes in that area. But yeah.
so
2016.
yeah, so I mean, I guess I mean it wouldn't surprise me if they actually did this. They
Yeah.
already know that the native people are gonna fight back, and they're like, well, let's just cause a fire. What are they gonna save? Everything's just burnt. They're gonna need the money. They're gonna need to go somewhere. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. To hear that the government is killing people and printing money out of thin air, and doing, it's it wouldn't surprise me at all. Actually, if something right now, my brain is thinking, what are they gonna do next?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that unfortunately nothing surprises me these days. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I know there's a lot of official verified fundraising efforts going on. So, I hope that people who can will go and help those people out. And, I just care about the humans. It sucks. It's really bad. But again, I hope that there's some truth that comes out of it, that some light gets shed, because I also do feel that with there, obviously there's so much negativity that you could be talking about today, of course. But I think one of the things with each one of these negative things that happen, I think there's an opportunity for good, because I think that a lot of the times in the aftermath, truth comes out that this was done or this was intentional, and it wakes more people up, and it gets more people riled, and it gets more people wanting to actually take action and do something to change it.
Yeah,
So I think that good can come out of it. And yeah, man, my heart goes out to all those people. It's nuts.
I agree. Mine
Yeah.
as well. But anyway, moving forward to the last news that I wanted to share is that Coinbase is officially launching in Canada,
I
and
heard about this.
yeah, and they're gonna be suspending USDT. So I don't know. I mean, I guess this kind of more confirms my theory of what I was saying, that I believe that eventually they're gonna restrict a lot of the stable coins, and eventually, the one of these stable coins could be either Circle or PayPal USDT. They're gonna do a partnership with the government, and they're gonna be like, hey, everyone's fighting against the CBDC, right? Okay, why not just, instead of building a CBDC, we already have these stable coins. Why not just purchase a company that produces, USDT or Circle or whatever? And here's your, you know, I guess under the radar CBDC, because it's technically it's not gonna be a CBDC. It's gonna be a stable coin, but with the same properties of a CBDC.
Right.
So I think this is going to happen eventually. I think there's no escaping from the rat of of capitalism, of BlackRock, Fidelity, Valkyrie, the Fed, the government, the deep state. And I mean, I guess it is what it is. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole idea about moving completely away from fiat altogether. I mean, and yes, USDT is a cryptocurrency that is on multiple networks, but was started on Ethereum. And are stable coins important? Yes, they very much are, because you cannot transact with cryptocurrency if you don't have them. It's very difficult to get paid in Bitcoin and then see a 10% drop like it did yesterday,
Yeah,
and expect that you're going to be able to survive. So I think that there's obviously a huge, obviously I'm part of a stable coin project. So I think that there's an important part for it, but I don't think that the stable coin of choice should be one that's backed by US dollars. I just don't think so. That's
yeah,
like backing air with air.
yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. I agree. I agree.
so it's just, and I've known for a long time that these stable coins, especially the ones that are digital representations of the US dollar, they're so controlled, man. They're so controlled. I mean, USDC, USDT, there's a few other ones that are out there. I think that it's not the solution, and I think that we at Meta One have the stablecoin solution. And
Yeah,
I think that I'm going to be interested. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with these projects in the future. I don't know what will, but I really could see either them going away altogether, or really being taken over to a point where it's not deniable that they're being manipulated and controlled.
yeah,
So yeah, man, it's interesting. It's really interesting, and that's the interesting thing about. But that's also the beautiful thing about crypto, is that what is the coin market cap now? There, it says at the top that there are 1.8 million cryptocurrencies. So there's there's no lack of choice. That's for sure.
yeah. I agree. And I mean, I don't think they're gonna go away, but I think they're gonna have sponsors.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm sure it can happen. I mean, they're already sponsored. You just don't, it's not like an out in the open thing. It's just like a lot of these companies, like you were saying, PayPal and stuff. It's like, yeah, the government doesn't own them outright, but I guarantee you, if you were behind closed doors at PayPal has connections to the government. I guarantee
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's this shadow game that they've been playing forever, and
Yeah, I
it's
would say it's the illusion of democracy.
yeah, definitely big illusion. The illusion of freedom. That's the kind of country that I feel like I live in. But
Yeah.
like I said, people are waking up every single day and things are changing. So I just wanted to end the show on a super positive note on I was mentioning this article the other day or earlier in the podcast, not the other day, earlier in the podcast, about this 14-year-old boy who raised money. So I thought this was really cool. So this article talks about a 14-year-old boy who basically raised money to pay off his old elementary school lunch debts. So he started a GoFundMe campaign, and he cleared lunchroom debts for his former elementary school, McCarty Elementary in Strickland. His name is Strickland, and his initial goal was 200. He's raised at the time of this article he raised 400, but yesterday the podcast I was listening to who brought up this article said he's raised over $2,000. And I just thought this was really cool. It's just like somebody, is a 14-year-old kid who, just has the biggest heart and wants to help his fellow human. And this is what it's about, man. This is what we need more of. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to share that because I thought it was really cool.
No, I agree. And what's ironic is that there's $300 billion to send for war to Ukraine, but there is no $2,000 to pay for the meals of our children.
Yeah,
Right?
man. Well, that goes to show you why each and every one of us has to stand up and has to come together here because that is 100% the truth. So, anyways, any final words before we say goodbye?
Just as usual, if you guys like the podcast, I think it's getting better day by day. Share it so we have more viewers. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. If you want us to talk about a certain specific topic, I don't know, hardware wallets, DeFi, whatever,
Yep.
just leave a comment and we'll make next podcast about whatever you guys want. So that's all I have. You, Justin?
Just keep loving each other, keep using your voices, standing up, telling more people about things that you're passionate about, Meta One and other things that are fighting for freedom. We can do this together. We can change this world. There's a million amazing people out there who are doing amazing things, and I just feel it inside of me that something is really changing. And I think that this next couple of years is going to be an amazing time to be on the planet with lots of really positive change. So I appreciate everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.